MYD Heart is proudly brought to you by NHP. NHP, we are about you.
99 FM, welcome to Master Your Destiny Heart. Yes, indeed, NHP is about us. Health Matters is how we're kicking things off this Monday. And I was telling you earlier, we have the pleasure of having Adriano Visagie. Does he really need any introduction? Does he though? Does he? We love him, part of the family. Award-winning actor, TV presenter, sought-after MC. And recently he took us through his journey of surviving COVID-19. Hi, Adriano.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm so good, my darling. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
You're looking so silky sharp.
Thank
I
you.
mean,
I think it's the pre-COVID glow, shall we put it that way?
the post was now.
The post-glow of COVID-19.
of things and things. And then let's start there. I mean, what made you really go get tested?
So, what started off as just a normal flu, I quickly rushed to the pharmacy because it's season, the season has changed. It's raining. We've wanted this rain. And then eventually I decided, this is just not any normal flu. So let me just quickly run down, pharmacy, done, checked. Then I realized that, something is just wrong. And your body knows when it's a normal flu. Yeah. And then you start losing taste and you start losing smell. And I immediately then called my doctor and I was like, doctor, this is just not normal. I don't feel well. Yeah. She then told me, listen, those are some of the symptoms. Although we all know what the symptoms of COVID-19 are. Yeah. I think somehow there's this denial that it's not me, it's not my time, or, it's not part of my portion. That is what I said last year. And then as much as you trace it back as to where you got it from, because I think everybody's like, oh, so where did you get it? Or who were you in contact with? Honestly, you can't remember. Then I got tested the Monday, and then this specific Monday, I got the results in the evening, same day. And it tested positive, and there was a lot of anxiety, there was a lot of fear, uncertainty. It's sort of like your life just flashes before your eyes, and you're like, is this the end? Yeah.
So with that in mind, you're like, okay, you're sitting with the results of, I am positive. And usually, like you said, people know the symptoms, know the what, but prior to this, like, COVID, I know this and this and this and this. But now it's you who's now positive. What steps did you take to re-educate yourself? Because I know everything else flies out the window.
So you literally you start Googling again, and then you really ask yourself, is this my reality? But I'm so thankful that I have a GP, and I'm in a position to have a GP that I could quickly call and ask her, what, doctor, what do I do now? She said, don't panic, we're going to go through this journey together. So that in itself places me as Adriano in such a fortunate situation that I could call her the next day. I got a prescription, and she said, isolate. And these are some of the measures that I obviously had to do. With first getting and starting a flu, I told everybody around me, because I cohabitate, please wear your mask, because it can be a flu, it cannot be a flu. So please just take the necessary precaution. And mind you, nobody around me got tested positive. Oh wow! Which I'm so happy for, because I think the worst fear of your going through that is spreading this to the next one and not knowing what the precaution or what the severity of this virus can actually be. Moreover, Sibo, I think the complexity of this virus is so broad that it really leaves you with a lot of uncertainty. Obviously, you're being told that after 14 or 10 days, you're unable to infect anybody, which is also something I read. But the reality of how you feel as a person, the reality of going through all of those emotions, not knowing whether the next day is promised, or is it going to get worse, is it going to get better, because people around you are dying of this. People get, tested positive, and the next week they're gone. So could that be my reality? I just followed what the doctor, in all honesty, said.
I want to talk about that, the prescriptions, because like you said it feels like a normal flu, but then it's not a normal flu. And we're hearing all of these things. Oh, you must steam, and you must ginger, and you must mint, and you must. So what did the doctor prescribe to you particularly?
So I think everybody has subscribed to the MVA immune booster, which is definitely the go-to. Obviously stocking up on vitamin C's, vitamin D, potassium, and iron as well. So everything that boosts the immune. It can also be natural oranges. So with that, I have a really good metabolism.
Oh, okay, Mr. I work out and I'm healthy. Which you are. You really do take care of yourself, and that's what helps when you get into a situation such as this.
Absolutely. And I think the importance of what this virus has taught me is that we need to take care of our bodies, because it can hit you at any time. It can hit you at where your immune system is the most vulnerable.
Yeah.
And then it really, puts you on a ventilator. I was fortunate to not
have to go to that extreme.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because it was a back thought in my mind.
Yeah.
And what the doctor has obviously prescribed is to constantly rest, because that's what the body needs. I'm hyperactive.
It must have been torture and
It
torment.
felt like the walls were just
caving in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But obviously steaming at first, I think that is what is important, because first detection of this virus, and it's also proven, if it's in your nose or if you've touched your face,
Yeah.
steaming really does kill it. Also, it prevents the lungs from drying up. That's what the steaming definitely does. Because I've also learned that what this does is it forms a lot of mucus within your lungs.
Yes.
So if your lung is dry, that's the first instance of you having to be on a ventilator. So allow it to be moist.
True.
As much as it's hard to steam,
Yes.
trust me, it's draining because of all that heat. It's worth it. Also look at it as a good facial for yourself.
True. Open up the pores.
Yeah.
Let the skin, the melanin glow must come. So what happens is you get tested prior. Now, after your 14 days, you get tested again, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
And then after 14 days, they look at, how severe this virus is, whether you still have symptoms. The reality of it is that it's still in your system within a month or two after having tested. Yeah, so it's not like it's just going to get out of your system immediately. So at this moment, I've not tested negative yet.
Yeah.
So we're still waiting for those results. But in all, the body is healthy.
Okay.
I had to go for constant saturation tests.
Okay.
I've also learned that saturation should not be less than 93, because...
Can you just explain that for the listeners? What is a saturation test?
So saturation is basically just looking at the oxygen level within your body. Moreover, how much oxygen is then going
flowing
to your lungs and all the needed areas for your body to survive.
Do they use the oximeter for you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's something that they plug onto your thumb. And then, yeah. It's quite interesting, It reminds me of, when you're being asked as a toddler, do you want to really become a doctor? And this was sort of reliving those moments of really realizing that this body is a machine that also just needs fueling and all these good things for it to survive as well.
Truly. What's the one thing that you think needs to be talked about more? When you were researching, even talking to your doctor, what has come up that you think this needs to be talked about more for people to know in terms of COVID-19?
This word self-isolation, I think a lot of people see self-isolation as, Sibo or Adriano tested positive for COVID-19 and they should be alienated from society. And I think we shouldn't, because that is the first instance where people die emotionally. Yeah. Because if you're a people's person and we are human beings, we need energies.
We're social beings at the end of the day.
We need people around us. So you can't tell someone to be in a room and not be in contact. If someone wears a mask, you can still be in contact with that person. You can still give them their food. It's not as bad. And I think that in itself is something that we need to start practicing. Moreover, I think we do not give our Ministry of Health the credit it deserves, because they called me every third day to find out how am I, do I need an isolation facility. They're able to pick me up. I remember Joseph was my go-to person, obviously not his real name, but he said, call me anytime you feel your symptoms do get worse. And that is what the Ministry of Health does not get credit for. And I think moreover, our government is really doing such a good job at mitigating COVID-19.
You talked about isolation and how traumatic that can be, because literally you're being treated like the plague, like ooh, you are the virus. It's like not like you have the virus. No, you get treated like you are the virus. So that's an interesting take on it, which I would then like to ask: how can family members and friends actually help support someone who is testing positive for COVID? Because it is a scary thing.
Absolutely.
In as much as I love you, but I'm also scared for myself. I have a grandmother. I have a da-da-da-da.
Exactly.
So since I'm told just isolate, friends, I'm just gonna stay away. But how can we best support one another, you think?
I think the support for me has been so overwhelming, because I allowed myself to go through the healing process and then took it to social media to then say, you know what, guys, let's stop this thing of the stigma around COVID-19
and alienating people.
Exactly, because that's not needed. I think moreover the support comes from, hey Sibo, I'm outside your yard, you tested positive, there's KFC, I'll just drop it at the door. Those are the friends I had and supported me. I think
you were living the life. KFC during COVID, my dear, also me.
But it's a thing of where I feel I was really in a fortunate situation, and that is not every Namibian's reality. Moreover, my constant thought was, what about the person that stays in the shack? Would they, be, in the rainy times we are in, be able to, make a fire, to boil water because there's no electricity? Mind you, some of these symptoms, within your first week is constant diarrhea. And, what toilet facilities do they have?
That's nearby even,
Moreover, our girl child, where do they then go use a facility just to release or to steam?
That is even safe.
Or cohabitate with family within, that situation. So, all in all, the support, I think, is really just to care and really be there. If you are able to say, I'm plowing back $100 into someone that I am able to say, you know what, Sibo, I bought you an immune booster. Let's do that as Namibians. Let's support one another. Let's support the local vendors on the street with buying their vitamin C, their
and
oranges,
the ginger.
And the ginger. So it's a chain of reaction, and I think now more than ever we need to support one another, especially during this virus.
The sense of community needs to be strengthened now more than ever. Speaking of strength, any tips that you have to maintain a happy and positive disposition? Because it's like what doctors always say, people that always get better are those ones that are, hopeful about getting better. The moment you go through the doom and gloom and you allow it to really take control, then really recovery is longer because it's all in the mind and in the emotions. So how did you maintain your positive disposition, and any tips on how to do that?
Because I've been, aligning my chakras.
Hey.
That very Monday I got it. I allowed myself to tear up that entire evening because I didn't know how my body is going to react to this.
Okay.
But I think let's start doing research. Let's emancipate ourselves around the coronavirus. I think also, like I said, our government has done such an amazing job. Moreover, looking at the death toll and also the recovery rate that we've experienced. It's such a small margin, and the death toll is so little. So let's be supportive of local still. Moreover, let's educate ourselves, which is very important. I don't want to forget to say this, that there's a COVID-related death. And I think people do not understand a COVID death and COVID-related death. And I think let's educate ourselves around that, because someone might be having an underlying condition and within that time still get COVID, and then they would refer to it as a COVID-related death. Yeah. So if someone strictly dies because of COVID, chances are that doesn't often happen within the Namibian spectrum, so it's more related to a COVID-related death.
And keeping healthy, Adriano, because you look good. Give us your 3 tips of maintaining and boosting our immune system. Let's drink our water. Let's give us our top 3.
Drink your water. I have my ginger tea right here.
Okay.
And I think exercise, I always say you don't have to run in the streets. Just the first step to just keeping healthy is go buy the sneakers. Don't take events or, All Stars. I think more trainers should actually educate us. Buy a decent sneaker and then you just start walking. Whether it's in your neighborhood, whether it's at the stadium where I go, whether it's at the there's so many places that you can go to just simply exercise. And then of course just take care of yourself. Take care of your mind, your soul, your spirit, all of that. It's quite important.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
And also thank you so much that you actually took the time to document and to share and to speak to people about it. Because like I said, when you know about it outside of it, it's one thing, but then when you're going through it, you have a different perspective altogether and more in-depth knowledge of the issue. So thank you for coming and for being healthy.
And mask up. I think
please.
What's important is that wherever we are, let's mask up, let's sanitize, let's really take the precaution necessary. I think today at work, one of the most beautiful things a little girl told me was that COVID is gone. And I'm like, you know what? She's speaking it into the universe. And as young as she is, tomorrow is back to school. She's speaking this into the universe. And there will come a time where we can all hug and gather and kiss and, just be merry again.
Boy, that physical touch is needed. Thank you for coming, my darling.
Thank you for having me.
Highly appreciated. That was Adriano Visagie, award-winning actor, TV presenter, MC, who was just taking us through his journey of surviving COVID-19.